نحمده ونصلي على رسوله النبي الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وذكر فإن الذكرى تنفع المؤمنين صدق الله العظيم وصدقه المولانا کریم ربی اشرح لی صدری ویسر لی امری واحلل عقدۃ من لسانی یفقهوا قولی اللهم ثبتنا عند الموت لا الہ الا اللہ اللهم اجعلنا من الذین آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر آمین یا رب العالمین. السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ. Since today is the day of 10th Mahram, the day of Ashura, with the current situations, I choose a topic on the destruction. Inshallah, the dunya, the world will be destroyed on this particular day. Many things happen on this day, is all past tense. Everything is done already. And we heard many times. This time we're going to talk about the destruction. And at the meanwhile, what is the destruction have that is coming out from our own hands? What amal we doing in this dunya that we destroying ourselves? Number one, what I see with the current situation is the Mahram and non-Mahram. Mahram comes from the word haram, and it means something which is sacred or prohibited. In the Sharia law, in the Islamic law, Mahram means a person who you are not allowed to marry, and it is permissible to see them without a headscarf. And if your closest family member, probably you shake your hand and probably hug them. Therefore, there is another thing is a non-Mahram. Non-Mahram means it is not haram to marry, with a few exceptions. It also means you have to observe the hijab in front of a non-Mahram. So who you are, your Mahram and non-Mahram, at least that we came to know. We all heard, most recently, there is a new tradition in our community. All men used to go out for studies, make money. Now it's a new tradition. Lots of girls are coming, are going. I personally have children. Even boys I will never let go any other state for studies. I want to see them in front of my eyes. Now the most recent, thousands of girls came from all over the world, especially from India. So many girls come to America as a higher education to become an educator in future. Now we have few incidents. There is a COVID-19 situation. Those girls came in. They have to make sure that they have the fees and resources. The boys will do anything. If the boy comes, he will do any work. Dishwasher, mopping a floor, sweeping a floor, construction job. As a man, he can perform anything. But as a girl, there is a limitation. And if you come on a student category, legally you are not allowed to work. That's a simple rule. You are not allowed to work unless if you complete your studies and you have a term called OPT. On OPT you can work. Or if you have a working visa after you finishing F1 category, then you are allowed to work. The tradition is changing. We do the weddings, we do the events, we keep the segregation between men and women. As a friends, we never introduce our sisters or daughters if they are adult. Right? We never introduce anyone as a stranger. Now imagine if you are sending your sister, your daughter for studies for America. Where is Mahram and non-Mahram? Where is your hypocrisy? That you try to hide all the identities and picture. One sister says, my daughter is here and I am looking for a boy for a matrimonial purpose. She said, I'm not going to give you a picture of my daughter. What a hypocrisy. But you already sent your daughter thousands miles away. You forgot your condition, Mahram and non-Mahram. Like I said, Mahram word comes from haram. Did you realize what is haram? You keep sending daughters. COVID-19, they don't see the faces. It says, come on in. They need money for their colleges. As a Muslim, as a Islamic law, we used to have a restriction, go to Hajj and Umrah. Now the fitna start from Hajj and Umrah. But at least there is a supervision over there. There is a security over there. There is a strict laws of the land over there. If you do anything, they'll chop your hands, they'll chop your neck also, possible. If you try to harm any woman or girl, if you get caught, you will be punished. So my point is, even we used to go to Hajj and Umrah, there is a condition of Mahram and non-Mahram. How could we send our daughters thousands of miles away for their higher education? Is it hypocrisy that we living in this time, in this era? Full of hypocrisy we live in. Now we were hoping that the girls come and do the jobs, make money and pay their fees and send some money back home. How could you send your daughter, your sister to overseas for education? Especially when you on that F1 category, you're not allowed to work. Where is your Mahram and non-Mahram laws goes as a Muslim? Men, boys, they can come, they can do any job, they get it. But what about the girls? They cannot perform the jobs like boy does. That's where the problem starts. And what do you know? Where they're living? What is the atmosphere? I receive calls, my daughter is coming, my sister is coming. I never met your daughter or sister if I was back home. Segregation, right? We do event in home, oh, ladies separate, gents separate. Then finally you send your daughters thousands miles away. Now the COVID-19, after COVID-19, during COVID-19, I don't know, thousands. Some of the report says just 160,000 students came from one city, place called India, Hyderabad. And some of them interviews over the Zoom during the pandemic. They all come here. The market for the job has become more tighter. At the same time, like I said, the girls cannot do what boy does. So the fees are the first burden. They have to make huge money to pay an average 7,000 to 10,000 each semester. If they don't make it, they are depressed. They didn't make money, they are depressed. Once they go into depression, their mental health is really bad. That's how we see few cases that the family is worried from back home. We have to make sure that if you send in your daughter, your sister that you have that resources to make those payments, for her living and all the conditions. The jobs is not guaranteed as a F1 student. You're not allowed to work unless you finish your college. You go on OPT or the working visa, H1. Once they go into depression, they will be out on the streets. No home, their health conditions are bad, and there is no safety. You can be robbed, you can be killed. Out there, the dunya is not safe. It's not safe for a man. Imagine the girls who never work in their life. They're flying overseas 1,000 miles away. Language, their dress codes, everything matters. You're supposed to have those resources. Anything can happen. It can happen to anyone. But as a family, supposed to have a backup plan. Somebody have to be able to fly and come and rescue. How many burials we did with the students? No family members. Who's going to collect the body? There is no next of kin. You have to struggle, make papers. Unless and until, if you have somebody, otherwise you have to go to the examiner office, the morgue office, and collect the remains. Some of the bodies it takes 10 days, 15 days just to collect the body, to fulfill the paperwork in order to be released. You just don't come as a student thinking that I will go find a job and make the money and pay the fees, then also send some money back home. Yes, if you are a man, boy, possible. You will make it if you're strong enough. As a sister or daughter, it is impossible. That's why we're seeing a sister out there in a very, very bad mental condition. She went deep to depression. And she's on look. We try to recover. She still sneaks out. Her mental condition is not normal. But we're trying our best. We understand her situation. But as a family members, people who are coming, we have to advise them that you gotta have a backup plan if you don't have a job to make the payments for the fee for your living. And also we should remember the rule in Islam, Mahram and non-Mahram. If you're sending your daughters, your sisters, make sure it's under the Islamic laws you're acting upon. You just don't send it we have to make sure we give this message out. there is lots of sisters who came in as a student. And I'm not sure that everyone is struggling out there. We'll make dua. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us a hidayah to follow this beautiful Quran and Sunnah. We're only following this Quran and Sunnah when we're doing, like I said, wedding. We separate men and women. Go to Hajj and Umrah, you say, who are you going? Mahram or non-Mahram. And you send your young daughter for a higher education with 1,000 smiles. So the pain you receive, the pain that we receive, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, the punishment that we receive from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by doing it wrong with our own hands, or expending a wrong with our own hands. وَمَا أَصَابَكُم مِّن مُّصِيبَةٍ فَبِمَا كَسَبَتْ وَأَيْدِيكُمْ وَيَعْفُو عَن كَثِيرٍ. He loves you more than 70 times your mother loves. But when you expend it in a wrong way, the pain will come back to you. The money you're expending to send it out, if you're coming with the husband, it's fine. You have mahram. Father, mahram and non-mahram. This has to be seen very closely. If you're coming with your father, it's fine. Coming with your brother is fine. Coming just alone, if something happened to you, nobody can even touch you in this country. You can't even wash a sister. We saw a sister many times. I was able to ask the airline to put on airplane when we found her a month ago. Airline refused because of her health conditions, sanitation. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us a hidayah to our family members back home, especially who's trying to send our young daughters and sisters without having a mahram. Wa akhir da'wana walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.